Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Gaura Premanandi, Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Astutara Shri Śrīmad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories, Shri Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasabhatale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Paschatya Satarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta praishu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistikir. Hare Krishna. Good morning. Thank you for attending this morning Śrīmad Bhāgavatam class. All of you are glorious. And those listening online also. Here, this is for you and the kids who made the noise. All right, so we are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 9, Liberation, Chapter 10, the pastimes of the Supreme Lord Ramachandra, text 28, right? Okay. Kritaisha vidavalanka Kritaisha vidavalanka Vayam cha kulanandana Vayam cha kulanandana Deha krutonnam gridranam Deha krutonnam gridranam Atma naraka hetave Atma naraka hetave Kritaisha vidavalanka Vayam cha kulanandana Deha kritannam gridaranam Atma naraka hetave. Please chant. Kritaisha vidavalanka Vayam cha kulanandana Deha kritannam gridranam Atma naraka hetave. Kritaisha vidavalanka Vayam cha kulanandana Deha kritonnam gridranam Atma naraka hetave. Kritaisha vidavalanka Vayam cha kulanandana Deha kritonnam gridranam Atma naraka hetave. Kritaisha vidavalanka Vayam cha kulanandana Deha kritonnam gridranam Atma naraka hetave. Ladies. Kritaisha vidavalanka Vayam cha kulanandana Deha kritannam gridranam Atma naraka hetave. Kritaisha vidavalanka Vayam cha kulanandana Deha kritannam gridranam Atma naraka hetave. Krita, made by you. Esha, all of this. Vidava, without a protector. Lanka, the state of Lanka, Vayamcha, and us, Kulanandana, O pleasure of the Rakshasas, Deha, the body, Kritaha, made by you, Annam, eatable, Gridranam, of the vultures, Atma, and your soul, Naraka Hetave, for going to hell. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Śrīla Prabhupada, Prabhupada Ki Jai. So let's read the translation together. O pleasure of the Rakshasa dynasty, because of you, the state of Lanka, and also we ourselves now have no protector. By your deeds you have made your body fit to be eaten by vultures, and your soul fit to go to hell. Purport. One who follows the path of Ravana is condemned in two ways. His body is fit to be eaten by dogs and vultures, and the soul goes to hell. As stated by the Lord Himself in Bhagavad Gita 16.19, Tanaham dvishata kruran samsareshu naradaman shibhami ajasram ashubhan asuresheva yonishu. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. Thus, the destination of godless atheists such as Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, and Dantavakra is a hellish condition of life. Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, could understand all this because she was a chaste woman. Although lamenting for the death of her husband, she knew what would happen to his body and soul. Although one cannot see directly with one's material eyes, one can see with eyes of knowledge. Pasyanti jnana chakshushaha. In Vedic history, there are many instances of how one becomes godless and is condemned by the laws of nature. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshus Anmilitam Ena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Karati Vachalam Pangum Langete Girim Yad Kripa Tamam Bande Shri Gurum Dena Taranam Paramananda Madam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sodato Gadodaya Pushpavanta Chitra Sando Tamododo Kritaisha Vidavalanka Vayam Cha Kulanandana Deha Kritonnam Gridranam Atma Naraka Hetave. O pleasure of the Rakshasa dynasty, because of you, the state of Lanka, and also we ourselves now have no protector. By your deeds you have made your body fit to be eaten by vultures and your soul fit to go to hell. So here we are looking again at Mandodari's lamentation, feeling of separation from her dead husband. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about how there are different ways of dealing with the human body, a dead body. And at the time of funeral, so different societies, they have different customs and so on. Mostly in the Vedic society, the body is burnt, but in other societies, when a person is dead, they'll just throw the body in some place for the wild animals, especially vultures, to come and eat. So Prabhupada says in one place that those that are eaten by the dogs and vultures, the body finally turns into stool. That's it. That's what the body is. It's not something we should become attached to. It becomes food for some other living entity. Sometimes they throw the body and abandon it in some place, just in some maybe swamp area or something like that. The crocodiles or something will eat. And in other cases, the body is consumed by insects. You can see sometimes. If you have a pet animal that dies and you bury it, and sometimes later you'll see a lot of insects, ants or termites or whatever, they come and eat. So in that case it becomes food for the animals. In other societies they'll just bury the body and it becomes dust. It becomes part of earth. And then in the case of those who follow Vedic culture, they burn and it becomes ashes. Dust to dust, ashes to ashes. That's the saying like that. So Prabhupada, he sometimes says, if you understand all this and you understand what's the constitution of a body, then you understand it's just made up of earth, water, fire and ether. And then the only thing that's holding everything together is the soul. The soul maintains it, Once the soul leaves, the body is, goodbye, it's useless. So what is the value of the body? That's his point. What is the value? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says what? Antavanta ime deha nityo shuktaha. Right? That at the time of death, the body will just perish. But the soul is still eternal. So that's what we should focus on. What is eternal, not what is temporary. In the case of Ravana, his focus was on that which was temporary. Although he was very well educated, so in the Vedic culture and Vedas, and still he made that choice. So similarly you'll find, that a lot of people in society, they have big degrees and so on, but they don't understand about the difference between the body and the soul, mostly because such knowledge is not widely available. And Srila Prabhupada's desire is that we take up this process and then we share with everyone that we can meet. Yare deka tarekaha Krishna upedesha. So we should try to give something. If we cannot speak the philosophy, you can actually give the book. If they don't take the book, you can give prasadam. Eventually, ultimately, the prasadam will work. It will purify the heart and they will start to think about what is the purpose of life and so on. So, we are supposed to give up attachment for the body and increase our attachment for the spirit soul. Of course, the Supreme Spirit Soul. And then our life will become successful. Prabhupada says it's a matter of thinking about it, deliberation. We have to think about it carefully, based on the first couple of chapters of Bhagavad Gita, we should think about it. There's the soul, there's the body, what is the purpose, why is Krishna talking like this and so on. Right. Now in our society also, in the Vaishnava society, exalted devotees are not generally, when they die, we don't generally burn their body. But you can, there's nothing wrong in burning the body, but generally what they do is they will entomb the body, or they preserve in what we call Samadhi, Samadhi, So why? Because why do we put them in a Samadhi? Why? Because they have dedicated their lives, the mind, their words and their body in the service of Krishna. Therefore, everything is spiritualized or Krishnaized, and therefore the body of a pure devotee is not cremated but placed in the ground. Because there's a system where they dig a hole, they put salt around the body, and that's a preservation. In Sri Rangam, if you go there, in Ranganath Swami temple, you will find Ramanujacharya's Samadhi body is there. He wanted it there. He in fact told them that's how they can worship him. And even to this day, devotees of in the Sri Vaishnava, they say they can see his eyes, right? And there's breathing also. So it's, in one sense it's fascinating and you are thinking, really? But some devotees say they can see the eyes looking at them. It's like amazing. So obviously he is there and he is not there at the same time, yeah? Because he is the expansion of the Lakshmana, yeah? So this internment, when they place it in the ground, is actually what we call, as you mentioned, Samadhi. Because such an exalted person. What is Samadhi? Samadhi is full concentration on the Supreme Lord. Completely concentrated. We can't do that at this stage in our lives. Huh? We try to focus and our mind runs all over the universe, like Dhruvarsha Muni. Yeah? And so we should be very careful that Srila Prabhupada spent so much time trying to teach us how to actually use the best use of this material body by practicing devotional service. Sadhana Bhakti, very simple. The process he's given us is 100% is effective. It's how we use it in our free time, what we use our bodies for. It's 100% effective and you will go back to Godhead. When Prabhupada left his body, he actually instructed that his body should be placed in Samadhi. Why? Because then for people who have the need to, Prabhupada is there, for them they want that kind of feelings. For devotees who feel great separation, when they go to the Samadhi, they feel great solace, great happiness. My spiritual master is there. Our Founder-Acharya is there, right? When you go to Vrindavan, do you not feel his presence in the Samadhi? Very strong, actually. Now, you can either burn the body of even that devotee, if they say burn the body. Sometimes some sannyasis, although they have done so amazing service, they say they want their bodies to be burned. In such cases, the system is the flower garland that's placed on the body as they leave. They take those flowers or flower garland and they will put it in a Samadhi. There's no difference between the actual body and the flowers taken from the body also. Okay, there's no difference. Please bear in mind, there's no difference. The Pushpa Samadhi and the actual Samadhi of the body, no difference. So in Mayapur, they took the flowers and the Srila Prabhupada Samadhi, at the bottom of that structure, they dug very deep and they put the flowers, Pushpa. So so that's so therefore, whether the reason why is Prabhupada say whichever place I leave, that's the place where you should put my body, and the other place should be Pushpa Samadhi. Okay, like that. All right. So it could be hair, it could be pieces of cloth also, or personal articles, and so that's how they were kept. They actually had some items in a gold box, and some items in a silver box. So they placed it in the Samadhi like that, yeah. So when we misuse the body, then it's unfortunate. But if you use it in the service of Krishna, then it's so nice, Yeah. Not only you become a symbol of a great joy for others who have seen you perform nice devotional service. You don't have to be a big saintly floating sage or whatever. You don't. But if you do nice devotional service, not only the Supreme Lord will accept that and He'll be pleased with you, even devotees will see your true heart. Yeah? So therefore it's very important. In saying that, Narada Muni once, when he was flying, he saw the two sons of Kuvera, Nala Kuvera and Manigriva. And when he saw what they were doing, he actually lamented. It hurt him so much. And so he said, Krimi vid bhashma shamnitam. That means he said, this body is made useless. Now it is only fit for krimi, other worms. It's only fit for worm. This body becomes food for worms, and there's no need for cremation. It may be eaten by worms or it can be eaten by some animal. Generally, in the places where they don't bury, the bodies are eaten by vultures and hogs, So he was thinking like that. What is this? And those animals, they eat, and the byproduct is, again, stool. So Prabhupada emphasizes this many times in the purports also, to make it clear that we should not be, what? Yeah, don't be attached to this body. It's just temporary. But it has a purpose, a good purpose. The purpose is to use it in the service of Krishna. Doesn't matter whether you do big service or small service, but the intent must be to use it in the service of Krishna as best as you can, yeah? Yeah. Otherwise, we will just maintain the body. If, let's say, we don't know Krishna, let's say all of us, what will we do with the body? We will be sense gratification, and sense gratification invariably leads to sinful activities. Yeah? And therefore, we should be very careful. The human body is meant for jivasya tattva jignasya. That means to actually seek transcendental knowledge. It's meant for tapa also. The first thing Brahma, when he woke in the lotus flower, what was the instruction? Tapa. Austerity. That's what our body is meant for. For austerity, to understand who am I, what is my purpose. Therefore, jivasya tattva jignasya. Otherwise, narto yasceha karma bhi. Don't use it for sense gratification. Don't use it for sense gratification. Sometimes, due to our former habits and poor sadhana, we may fall back into sense gratification. But we should regret that we are in such a fallen situation. And therefore we should run to the Lord, run to the devotees, run to Srila Prabhupada and say, help me, I'm such a fool, My life desires are centered around sense gratification. Please help me, take it out. We can desire for this body. What are the things we should desire? Apart from spiritual life, you should have good, healthy life. You can desire that. I want a good life. Or self-preservation. Somebody attacks you, can do that. Why? Because if you can preserve your body, then you have an opportunity to understand Krishna. Yeah. The opportunity is given, and so we should try to use it in that sense. And so, nothing else should be the goal of our life. Yes, we have duties. We should do the duties very nicely. If you're a student, study hard, be the best student. But at the end, you come to Krishna and say, I am the best student because of you, because of your mercy. Yeah, I do my work very nicely and my boss is happy, but I do it so that he doesn't disturb me, so that I can be peaceful in my Krishna consciousness when I go home. Yeah, yeah. So therefore, we can, keep the work at workplace, just like Bhaktivedanta Thakur, right? He goes, he does his work. When he comes home, he doesn't touch any of the office work. Of course, nowadays, the system is so horrible that they even call you when you're at home. That's the problem with cell phones, mobile. So maybe you ask for a company phone, and when you go home, you give the company phone to your boss and say, I'm going home now, I've done my job for the day, you keep for me. And then you go home. Next day I'll come and take it from you. Of course, they will not want that, but the point is, that's how we should be thinking. So the consequences of unrestricted sense gratification is what we are reading in these few verses of, in these 2 chapters of, in the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra, exhibited by the greatest example of, one of the greatest, unrestricted sense gratification by Ravana. Yeah. So, do we identify with Ravana? Yes? You sure? Somewhat. In some instances, right? Yeah. Yeah. So, excesses is what we should temper down. We shouldn't have too much. Everything, even in Krishna consciousness, don't overeat and overindulge in certain things. Everything should be tempered to give a very nice balanced environment, not only for yourself, but for anyone who comes and meets you. They see you're living a good life, a spiritual life, but a very balanced and wonderful life. And in the Bhagavatam it is said, you cannot be pure in your mind if you are not pure in your action. It's not possible. And no one is pure in action if he is not pure in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And if your mind is not pure, there's no chance of you to give rapt attention to the teachings of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So what happens is, if we don't pay the attention, we miss the essence of what the Bhagavad is all about. And therefore, when we leave, we just go and do other things. So it's important to get someone who can actually help us and guide us and focus our mind and intelligence on the right purpose of human life. And in that sense, Srila Prabhupada also highlights many times, if you read the Bhagavatam, he says one should have a proper guide or approach a spiritual master. Taspat Gurum Prapadyante. He makes it very clear. Jignasa Shreya Uttamam. Sabde Parecha Nishnatam Brahmani Upasamasrayam. Yeah. So, if we understand the purpose of life, you will approach a spiritual personality to get that guidance. And it is not that the spiritual leaders want to abuse anyone. If they do, then they are not spiritual guides actually. That is not the purpose. In all circumstances, it is for us to connect anyone to Krishna. That's who we are. We cannot become the word is transparent via media, so we cannot become a wall. You're supposed to be transparent. That means you don't stand between Krishna and that living entity. Whoever comes in the temple is a guest of the deities. And therefore, the onus is on to us to give them a nice reception such that they feel they have a connection not only with the residents here, but with the owner of all the residents. Yeah. like that. So if we have a guru who can guide us, or any Siksha guru, so Acharya one. Acharya one means, just like Bhagavan means possessor of the opulence, so Acharya one means I have a spiritual leader who can guide me. So we have to become Acharya one also. Yeah. So then you will understand the purpose of life. Acharya one, Purusho Veda, in Chandogya Upanishad. Yeah, so then we will understand the purpose of life. And not only that, because you are Acharya one, you have agreed for the Acharya to guide you. That's what Acharya one is all about. That dedication must be there. And then when instructions are given, they are not given where you cannot perform anything. Mostly devotees give instructions in such a way that anyone can follow. We don't tell people you have to go climb Mount Everest and then we will give you initiation or like that. It's not like that. We just tell them follow these rules and regulations, see how you go along, and then we will help you, guide you so that you become a good devotee. Yeah. But if you look at Ravana, his life wasn't. You can't see there's a person in the category of a guru for Ravana. You cannot really see that. Rather, his guru is his mind or the material modes, Rajaguna and Tamoguna. It was very strong in his case. When you are overcome by Rajaguna and Tamoguna, you don't care about anything. Even ourselves, sometimes if we are overwhelmed by the modes of the passion, we don't want to take instruction seriously. And that's trappings of the material energy. You should be very careful. Why is it some people cannot take the instructions of the Guru? Because they are in the gunas. Rather, we end up acting like foolish animals. When you are in the modes, you are like an animal. There's no difference between an animal and someone who is in the modes. And our life is given up. Ravana here, he gives up his life unnecessary. Mrityu samsara vartmani, gone, wasted. And we continue suffering, right? Sometimes people say, oh, we don't suffer, How can they say that? That's such foolishness, How can they say they are not suffering? Are you saying that your life is so perfect that you are not suffering? Have you never experienced a headache? Or a stomach ache? Or diarrhea? People say that. I've met so many people. No, I have a wonderful life. I've never suffered, Yeah. And if you have such foolish people, they cannot elevate themselves spiritually. Rather, instead, such people will indulge more and more in sinful activities, and they think it's okay. And as Mandodari is saying, because of Ravana's sinful activities, she can see after death the soul is going to hell. That's what she's saying, deeper into hellish life. So such people, when they have become foolish, they actually surround themselves with unqualified people. And then they get instructions from unqualified people. I remember one time my Guru Maharaj told me to do something, and then I thought, that I was intelligent, and so I asked someone else to do that task. And so they didn't do it properly. And so my Guru Maharaj asked me, what happened? Then I said, I asked this person to do, and they didn't do a good job. And then he said, oh, Rādhā Kṛṣṇa, you've become fourth class. He said, I gave you an instruction and you approached a third class person, and then you took an instruction. Therefore, you have become fourth class. So when we surround ourselves with people who will feed our foolishness, and our foolish intellect, then we become worse. Third class, fourth class, fifth class, our intelligence is gone. Maya Parita Gyan, gone, everything is gone. And so we should be very careful. Why are we doing that? So if you read the Ramayana, you see Ravana had all these counselors, but they were all unqualified, low class, They only were thinking of destroying and conquering and enjoying, what to do. A foolish person does not consider whether the body belongs to him or, sometimes you ask, who does the body belong to? They think they are smart. They say, well, it belongs to me, some people will say. But then if you say, but who gave you the body? Did your mom or father? Then they will say, well, I do not know. They say, I do not know. But sometimes also we see, right, in the, historically, people become slaves to someone else, or they buy and you become a slave. Or even in the Bhagavatam you see, so there are people who become slave. So then who does the body belong to? Right? You can't claim anymore. Even the Pandavas, when they played the die, right, they lost even their body, everything. And the Kauravas were smart. They say, nothing belongs to you, your wife belongs to us, things like that. So chaos. But actually Prabhupada says in one purport, says the body actually finally belongs to the fire. Because you burn it and it eats like that. I thought that was interesting. And burn to ashes. Or the body may be thrown in the street for dogs and hogs and vultures to eat. Just like Mandodari is saying. Now, incidentally, in case you're wondering, Ravana's body wasn't thrown for the vultures to be eaten. His brother Vibhishana, he does the proper consecration, all the funeral arrangement properly and so on. Yeah. So, actually if you think about it, and even in the Bhagavad Gita, we understand this body, we don't even own this body. It doesn't belong to us. It's a temporary loan based on our desires. The material energy gives this loan, right? It doesn't belong to you. You go to library, you borrow a book, it is not yours. You have to return it. Yeah. So similarly, at the end of life, we have to return this body. Yeah. And then we have to be given a new body based on our karma and desires in your subtle body. Yeah, so therefore we should not think that the body belongs to us. And then the other point Srila Prabhupada also highlights in the pastime of the Nalakuvara Manigriva, when Narada Muni, there he says, one shouldn't become infatuated with false prestige because we have a lot of opulence, we are wealthy, because essentially once we become thinking this is part of me and so on, we end up indulging in wine, women, men, or animal killing. That's Prabhupada says that. He says very strongly, yeah. Then he says, he compares the situation of the Nalakuvara Manigriva to, he says, it's better that if they were much more poorer. A poverty-stricken man is better than one who has opulence. He says it's much better than, yeah. Because a poor man thinks of himself in relation to other bodies. He doesn't think of his body so much. So therefore, he will not inflict injuries to another person. He knows, I'm suffering, so I don't want to see other people suffering. In general, but that's what Prabhupada says. Why? Because the demigods, when they enjoy so much sense gratification, particularly in Alakuvara and Manigriva, they have this false prestige. And so Narada was thinking, I should put them into a condition of life devoid of opulence, and then they can understand themselves better. Yeah. Yeah. And if we are not careful, if we indulge in enjoying this body, we end up having to take birth in one of the 8.4 million species. And sometimes people say, no, I don't want this body. But, who's in the heart? The Paramatma. Ishvara sarva bhutanam riddesha arjuna tistati. Therefore, he is actually placing you according to your past karma and according to how you actually deserve. We can't desire something that we don't deserve. Prabhupada says first deserve, then you desire. Yeah. So the Lord is in everyone's heart and He's directing our wanderings based on our desires. If you are devotees, then it's a separate category. He will make sure that you take birth in the proper situation to proceed with your devotional practices. Yeah. So situating himself in the heart, he says, you get this body, you get that body. Who can stop him? Can we say no? Like you go to some shopping center and they say for $50 you can only buy this, then you start bargaining. But you can't do that with the Supreme Lord, or the material energy. It's very ruthless. Material energy is very ruthless, and it gives you a body, and this body, Prabhupada says, is yantra rudrani, right? Yeah. Rudani, yantra rudani, and given by yantra rudani maya, so given by material energy. It's given by material energy, based on the direction of the Supreme Lord. He sees what you deserve and He says, okay, check this body out for this person. Let them check that out. And then they wear a nice suit, you go to the, you go into the fitting room and say, oh, I look so good like that. So similarly, the living entity is forced to take a birth as a dog or a cat, And then they're like, no, yes, smash. And then, woof, woof. Next life. So the machine or the body is given by the material energy. Today, you may be a big man like Ravana, powerful man, perform all kinds of atheistic, asuric activities, And then you become condemned. There are laws within this universe to raise the consciousness of the living entity so that eventually they can go back to have eternal relationship serving the Supreme Lord. If they refuse to do that, then they have to face something else, and that's what the laws are. And so essentially you find suffering and all is so that we learn from the suffering. If we suffer and we don't understand why we are suffering, what happens is you get a lot of mental situation, a lot of mental health problems, and then depression, and then ultimately so many of them will commit, suicide, And then we think, oh no, still you find scientists and all say, no, we can become happy, we are doing all kinds of research and we'll get everything, But you can't stop the Lord's law that is going on. You can't say the same thing, right? You can't say, I don't care about the Australian government's law. You can't do that. As soon as you break the law, they will put you in prison. What would you say if they come catching you? You can't say, no, I'm free to do what I want. Can you say that? It's not. And then ultimately we end up abusing this body for the wrong purposes. Yeah. So in this verse that Prabhupada quotes, it is clearly indicated in this particular verse Prabhupada quotes, that placing of a particular individual soul in a particular body is the prerogative of the Supreme Lord. Because he says, I will cast you perpetually in different species of life. So it's very, very clear that it's his prerogative. Yeah? Obviously, people who don't accept Krishna, they will disagree that the Lord is supreme. Yeah? And that they would think they can do what they want. But we see here, Krishna himself says, no, I put them. Yeah. So therefore, all these are very interesting, you know. Prabhupada also says we suffer every moment. What are the three suffering that we have? Yeah, Adi Bhautika, Adi Devika, Adi Atmika. We cannot escape that in this material world. Therefore, no one can say, I am not suffering. No one. Even a pure devotee goes through difficulties. Prabhupada went through so much difficulties. Yeah. So it is foolishness to say that we are not suffering in this world, in this body that we have. Yeah? So you can't say, I don't care. And similarly, when Maricha told Ravana, you know, you will suffer. You are going to suffer because you want to kidnap Sita. And he refused to accept. The first time he came, Maricha told him, and he told him what happened when he was younger, and how Ram was a little boy, and how he shot the arrow, killed his associates, and threw him 800 miles away. He said this little boy was that powerful at that time, and I have seen him, you know, many times, and he's not an ordinary human being. I suspect it's the Supreme Lord. But Ravana was thinking, maybe I should have asked for the boon to cover the human race also. Maybe he was thinking. Then he said, he brushed it aside. No, Rakshasas are superior race. We are better than them. Yeah. And then the second time Maricha met Ram was after he was thrown 800 miles, he came back, you know. Then he saw Ram in his hermitage and so on. So he and his associates, they changed into a Sharabha demon. They have like spiders, 6 legs or something, and they can fight and eat lions. So they all transform into those kind of monsters, and they came rushing at Ram. And Ram didn't even, get angry or anything. He took his golden arrows. Quickly he killed 2 of the associates of Maricha. And Maricha escaped the arrow by dodging. And then he saw what is happening, he ran away. And so he told Ravana, please don't, attempt to do anything to Ram because your life will be at stake. The entire Rakshasa Vamsa will be wiped out. Don't attempt to steal Sita. But Ravana is a fool because his counsel is all unqualified, foolish guys. So if we also take shelter of unqualified people, we become unqualified and foolish. So we have to be very careful. So he goes back and then he's thinking, yeah, maybe Maricha is right, I shouldn't go. Then what happens? Just as he's thinking he shouldn't go and kidnap her, who comes? You all should know this, right? You know this, just you can't think about it. Shurpanaka. Yeah, she comes, and then she rolls in front and screams and wails. Ravana just keeps quiet. He says, my sister, she's crazy, right? And then after a while she says, oh, Lord of Lanka, you think you're so great sitting so high on the throne, but just imagine, in the recently your brothers Kara, Trishura and all of them were wiped out. 14,000 of your best Rakshasas were killed by Ram in less than an hour and a half. And look what they did to me, her nose was cut, yes. And she keeps screaming, you can't, in any situation when someone keeps talking down, you cannot stand it after a while, unless you're a saintly person like Haridas Thakur. So Ravana wasn't. So he couldn't stand it. He said, so what do you want me to do? I say, you have to show. Now everyone is looking down on you. Even the demigods are laughing behind your back that you lost, So then then she knew she still couldn't get him. And what she said, she started to talk about Sita. She said, oh, you know what? They have Sita. He has. She's so beautiful. She should be your wife. She should be your queen. And because he's hearing all this, and because he is not strong in his mind. Why? Because of indulgence in? Not following four principles, your mind cannot be strong and determined. So he gave up and he started thinking, yes, I will go. And that's how he fell down. And that's how you die also. So no one can escape death. In fact, Shurpanaka is the messenger of death for Ravana, if you think about it. Everyone wants somebody to agree with them, right? So Ravana wants someone to agree with him that he wants to kidnap Sita, and finally he gets all of them to say, yes, yes, you should go. And then, but Maricha still refused. He went the second time, he refused. And what did Ravana say? Either you die in my hands or you die out there. So then Maricha was thinking, this guy is a rascal. Why should I die in his hand? Ram, I think, is Supreme Lord. I'd rather die in his hand. So he then agreed. But he did tell him, you are going to destroy the entire race. You are going to be the cause of the extinction of the Rakshasa race. And there's no doubt, Then he said, rare are the people who speak good for others. Very rare. So we are devotees, we are practicing devotees. We should always wish well for others, because we are devotees. We shouldn't be, speak ill or bring others down. No, that's not our... We are supposed to be saintly people. We are well-wishers. Suridam sarva dehinam. Right? We are well-wishers of all living entities. So we should cultivate those qualities. Practice makes perfect. Now it's so difficult to say, I like this devotee. But you keep practicing and say, it's due to false ego that we don't want to do it. But actually every one of you have a fantastic and beautiful quality. Not just one, many nice qualities. So we should seek and find out and praise that quality. I remember reading letters to Prabhupada where in one letter, many devotees, right, a few of them, they say, Prabhupada, this devotee is so good. And Prabhupada say, this is so nice that you can see good qualities in others. This is Vaishnava, he said. So that's how we should be. Otherwise, we will all die. And there's no escape to death. In due course of time, we will have a special appointment with death. All of us. I don't know if you know this story. There was once a man, this is in Mecca. It's quite a common story, you may have heard of this. In Mecca, so he is working for his landlord, servant. So he goes to market every day to buy boga. So he buys boga, and then while he's buying boga, he sees death personified with the sickle looking at him, So he's like frightened, what is happening. So he rushes home to his master and say, I have to get out of this city, Mecca. I can't stay here. He says, why? I saw death. He's after me. I'm going to run away from death. said, and his boss said, what do you want me to do? He said, please help me. So the landlord gave him a camel and some clothing and some money and said, okay, you go. So he said, I'm going to go to my cousin's place in Medina. So he goes. And then the landlord was thinking, he saw death in the marketplace, Maybe I should go and see and talk to him. He's a good man, he shouldn't take his life. So he goes in the marketplace and looks around, he can't find, and finally he saw Death with the sickle walking. He comes to Death and says, please, don't take my servant away, So then he said, who's your servant, So then he mentions his name. He said, oh, that's your servant, yeah. And then he says, please don't take him, don't, not now, give him some time. He said, no, I'm not taking him, Then he said, but my servant said you were looking at him in a way that you are going to take him away. He said, yeah, I was actually looking at him. I was surprised to see him here in Mecca because I have an appointment with him in Medina. So we cannot run away from death. Ravana tried so hard, you can't run away. Okay, so that's pretty much what I want to cover today. If you have any comments, questions, and additions, corrections, please feel free to do so. Yes, Savior. You always have questions. Good for you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the nice class. Prabhu, you mentioned how we shouldn't be attached to our body because we're not this body. To say it and to understand it theoretically, it can be pretty easy. But it is very difficult to understand this when we're like in an extremely harsh or extremely excellent situation. So how can we understand it practically even if we're in like a really good situation or a really bad situation?
Okay, that's a good question. In general, we cannot like one day wake up and say, I'm not the body, I'm a soul. It's not going to happen like that. Rather, your consciousness is what you're trying to purify. To think that I am the servant, yeah. You think like that, then you're not the body, no more. Because you're using everything in the service of Krishna. That's how it is, yeah. So whatever your situation is, you have to cultivate this consciousness to think I am always the servant of Krishna. And so one day you wake up and you think, I'm so happy I'm the servant of Krishna. You're not thinking, I'm so happy I'm Savior. No, you're not thinking like that. You'll think I'm Savior, the servant of Krishna, who will be the Savior of others. Right? Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Otherwise we can end here. Thank you, all of you, for attending the class. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.